Last but not least, Ricky Gregg Aquanaut, and candidate for his PhD in oceanography, and one of the greatest all-time surfers of our day.
What is it about the ocean that draws a person, a human, any given person growing up? The ocean is one of the most free and natural things that exist on Earth because it's nature in the raw. And I said, be yourself, do what is natural. The ocean allows you to be as natural as you can ever be. How is it that you were drawn to the ocean? Why did you want to become an oceanographer? The first time was a total thrill. I was out body surfing, and Buzzy Trent, this lifeguard guy, said, "Hey kid," because I didn't know him yet, he said, "Hey kid, do you want to ride?" Because he was on a surfboard and I was just swimming. I was just body surfing, and so I didn't have fins on or anything, and I said, "Sure." And so I scrabbled up on his board, and he grabbed my arm and pulled me up in front of him and sort of put my legs around his chest. Anyway, I said, "What do you do?" And he said, "Just leave it to me." I said, "Okay." And so we waited a little while, and then a wave came, a pretty big wave. And I looked back, I saw this wave coming, and he said, "We're going to ride this wave." I said, "Oh, no, it's too big." And I started paddling backwards, and he said, "Stop that." And he grabbed my hands, and he planted them on the board. He said, "Don't move." And he started paddling for this wave, and we caught this about 5-foot wave, and it was huge. It was bigger than I was. And the board went down this steep face, and I looked down, and it was steep, and it was fast, and I didn't know what was going to happen. I thought we were going to die. And he grabbed my chest, and he ripped me off the board and stood me up on my feet, because he was already standing up. And my eyes were about as big as 50-cent pieces, and so I couldn't do anything. I was just stuck. And pretty soon I was relaxed. And we're riding this wave, and we went a long ways. It was at Malibu, California, and we were on the green part of the wave, hadn't broken, and it was beautiful. And then I relaxed, and as I relaxed, he let go of my chest. He said, "Put your weight on your back foot." I said, "Okay." And I sort of just was caught in the moment of absolute pleasure, of absolute happiness. It felt so good. And I said, "Buzzy, what do we do now, next?" And he didn't say anything, nothing at all. I said, "Buzzy, we're coming to the beach." It was the end of the ride, and the wave was going to break right on the sand. And I didn't hear a word, he didn't say a thing. I turned around, he wasn't there. He had gently let himself fall off the board, and I had ridden that wave the last 50 yards all by myself and didn't know it. And that's the best wave I ever caught, because it set a direction for my whole life. I was so excited. Everything about it is natural, and to discover how it works is to discover how life works, how you work. And it's passionate, it's beautiful, it's free, it's all the things I want to be. In my case, I just sort of accidentally had both things combined in me. I was very, very curious. I used to walk the beach every morning, and I was so interested in what was on the beach, that washed up every night. Where did it come from? How did it get there? Is it man-made? Is it a glass ball from Japan? or is it an oil seep from Santa Barbara? I, I was fantastically curious, but as soon as I got into the ocean, something else was triggered inside of me, and that was a sort of energy that I had to release. And I use a wave as a symbol of that energy. By riding the wave, I was able to allow, I was empowered by the energy of the ocean. It became my power. It became my energy because I had a need for a physical outlet. It was naturally something that provided it for me. And it's alive, and it's magical, and it's exciting. It's all of these things, and it allowed me to be both people who I am, the curious guy and the physically passionate guy. I'm two people. And when you're more than one thing, especially when they're opposite, it really makes people uncomfortable with you. They're always saying, "Who are you?" And they really want to be a surfer too, but they're somehow caught up in this other box of being a student and excelling in academic endeavors because it pleases their parents or their teachers or society or whatever group they're in that thinks this is the way you ought to be. So those people are kind of caught up by being somebody they're not, whereas surfers can be more natural. They can just follow their heart. So, and I was sort of doubted, like, is he for real? Should we give this person a scholarship? Does he deserve it when he's out surfing all the time? No, let's give it to this other person who's totally committed. So when you commit to two different things, you confuse society. So it's hard to be more than just one person. Well, to me, it was easy because I lived on the beach, and I had a lot of friends who were ocean people, like lifeguards or divers or fishermen. And I had role models I could follow or be like. And then in school, of course, you have all your teachers, and you have people that inspire you mentally, or in music or in art. It's the same thing. It's a mental inspiration. And so for me, it was simply living in two worlds. And I found it easy to do that. I'd go to school and I'd be as good as I could be there, and I'd go out in the ocean, and I would be everything the ocean required of me. That I'd be a fast swimmer, a strong swimmer, that I can dive deep, that I'm not afraid to take a chance. I'm not afraid to dare, live to dare. There are so many things pulling and pushing and influencing you guys when you're growing up. Who are you going to be? And those are some of the things that come into play. And it's confusing. There's too many choices. So I always would go back to myself, my heart, and say, okay, what do I really want to do? What do I really want to do? And then I'd do that. That's who I'd be. Okay,